like to have snake fights in order to compete for the ladies. We'll talk about this and more fun ring-tailed lemur facts while we sketch this little hopper. So let's just turn a page and get started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on a, goodness, is it Wednesday morning? It is Wednesday morning. Wednesday mornings at 5:30 in the morning is when I like to do a little thing where I pull a toy from the toy box, a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, and I draw it, and we talk about it. And today's random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier is a ring-tailed lemur. We actually do this every day at 5:30 a.m. Texas time, so you may want to set that notification bell so you don't miss any of them. Good morning, Claudia. We've got Claudia in the chat with my mom and my dad. My mom runs the chat, so she can let me know if somebody needs responding to, because I am not cool enough to draw and talk and read the chat at the same time. So I have my mom on the phone while I draw this little lemur, and I'm already caught up in the details and I need to be focused on composition. Let's get back to the composition. I'm sitting here, I'm enthralled by that tail, and I need to make sure I've got room for everything on the page before I start working on the details, because otherwise I'll get right up in there and it'll be time to start filling in the rest of the details, and I'll find out I don't have room for it and have to erase all the details I've already added. It's happened several times, especially lately. Ring-tailed lemurs, in mating season, the males produce a sweet-smelling scent out of a gland on their wrist, and they will coat their long tails with this scent from their wrists, and they'll go up to the ladies and they'll splash their tail around the ladies, and if she's interested, she'll accept him, but otherwise she'll slap him away, just physically just slap him away. But it doesn't stop him. He typically just goes on to the next lady and tries it again. And the ones that do it the most are obviously the most successful in mating. But the biggest problem they have is that they only have a very small window of when they can do it. It's only like once a year that the ladies come into heat to accept a mate to be able to breed. And so, the males have to get in there quick and often with their scenty tail. The males have to get in there quick and often if they want to participate, if they're going to be able to participate. So it's important that they do it. The interesting thing about that is that the whole rest of the season, the whole rest of the year, that scent that they produce in their wrists is bitter and leathery, and they use it to fend off other lemurs that might come into their mating territory. But during mating season, it changes chemically and becomes flowery and fruity.
Sweet.
What?
Sweet.
Sweet.
They're saying, see how sweet I am. Look at me.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly what they're saying. Look how sweet I am. They're not very big. Ring-tailed lemurs are only about 2 bananas long.
That's tiny.
It is tiny. About 2 feet. No, 2 bananas long is 16 inches.
Yeah, little top.
But these are the ones that spend most of their time on land. Most of the lemurs don't really like to be on the ground. And I'm not saying that these guys like to be on the ground. But they do spend more time on the land than any of the other lemurs.
Do they swing by their tails?
I don't know if lemurs swing by their tails or not. I don't think I've ever seen a primate swing by its tail. All the primates I've ever seen with tails use their tails for balance in the trees, but I don't think I've ever seen one actually swing with its tail. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I just don't think I've ever seen it.
No, they don't. Their tails aren't designed for gripping.
Yeah. No, they're just like cattails. They're just there for balance. I got too many lines on my page, and I got too many pencil lines on my page, and I got a little confused there. It's so easy to get confused when you have too many lines on your page. That's why I like to switch to pen early.
Sometimes you like to just skip the pencil altogether.
Sometimes I would like to just skip the pencil altogether. That's true. So this is one of the only animals that is attributed with pheromones. Only primates, I should say, that have been attributed with pheromones. It's the only example of pheromone use among primates. And pheromones are the scents that animals use to attract mates. And there's arguments about whether or not humans have the ability to create pheromones. Some say yes, some say no. There was an interesting study done a long time ago. Seems like I was in college when I saw the video about it. They put some human scent. They took human sweat and boiled it down to a real thick paste, which is gross enough on its own. But they took that and they put a small amount on various stalls around the bathrooms around the campus, and they put counters on the doors and cameras in the bathroom. Now, this was long enough ago that they could get away with this. I don't think anybody would let them do this now. But they didn't put bathroom cameras where they could see anything, just where they could monitor the doors to the stalls. And what they found is that other men, they didn't walk up to the door, smell it, and walk away. They just simply avoided that door. Like there was just instinctively something wrong with that door. There was no conscious decision to turn away from that door. That's about the same time I saw the study that suggested that if there is only one man in the bathroom, he won't wash his hands. But if there are two men in the bathroom, they will always wash their hands. Anyway, so we don't know if humans have pheromones or not. There have been studies that suggest they do. There's been studies that suggest they don't. But these guys use their scent both to attract mates and to expel potential combatants. And they produce the scent in a gland on their wrist. They're a matriarchal society. They're ruled by the ladies. Whatever she says goes. Smart guys. Morning, Rick. You get mossy. What does that mean? You said we get mossy.
I don't know.
Oh, Pamela said that. From here, it looks like Pass Me Not, but it's not. It's Pamela French.
Oh my, you're gonna have a long day.
I tell you, my eyes are not working today, as opposed to any other day. All right, let's see here. This is my favorite part of the process. I probably never told y'all that. This is the part that I look forward to, where I get to turn it from lines on the page into a dimensional drawing. They think they got to Madagascar on a floating mat some 55 million years ago. When Madagascar separated from Africa, there weren't primates yet. And so they think some 55 million years ago, the set of primates floated over to Madagascar on a mat of vegetation, and became all of the lemurs that we see there today. That all of the different variations of lemurs are descendant from that first set.
Pamela says she's testing your movie lines in case you haven't seen that.
I don't recognize the line. We get mossy. I don't know if I've seen it or not, but I don't recognize the line. Which is funny because that's a game we play all the time here. Especially at my day job. My day job, I got a couple of really big-time movie nerds besides me. Who sit right across from me. And that's our whole day, is going back and forth movie lines and song lines. All right, let me dry this real quick and we'll come back with some color. Well, I mean, what movie is it? I'll tell you if I've seen it. I do quick purchase. I have to reboot my computer. I can tell I'm going to have to reboot my computer.
Rich doesn't think you've got money that grinds.
Oh, you know what? I have seen You've Got Mail once, 100 years ago. And I am not a big talking drama movie goer. Devil Wears Prada. I barely like movies like what was the one where Billy Crystal was a cowboy? Where they're driving cows across the plains, and the old man who's herding the cattle dies, and they end up bringing the cattle in on their own. I barely watch those kinds of movies. I don't typically go to see those kinds of movies. I have seen You've Got Mail. I have seen Sleepless in Seattle. I have seen When Harry Met Sally.
But they're not your genre.
That is not my genre. When I go to the movies, I want to see something over the top and outlandish. I don't want to see people talking. I don't want to see like tonight, for instance, we're going to see Top Gun. Top Gun is being released as an anniversary. Like, isn't it 40-year anniversary? Top Gun has been re-released as a 40-year anniversary, and so we got a double feature: Top Gun and Maverick. That kind of stuff I like. Star Wars, Star Trek. Saw a really good movie the other day, Project Hail Mary. Felt like that was a really good movie.
I like Equalizer.
Equalizer's a good movie, but it's not the kind of movie I want to go see in the theater. And to tell you the truth, the first Equalizer is not the best one. I like the third one.
I like the first one.
The first one was good. If the second one had been the first one, I don't know that I would have seen any of the others.
Because I like Denzel Washington.
Yeah. But Fried Green Tomatoes, I like those movies. I will watch those movies on Netflix. But they're not the kind of movie that I will go to the theater to see.
But there's scenes in Fried Green Tomatoes that are worthy of the movie.
No, I don't agree.
You know?
No, not at all.
Okay.
There's nothing in that movie that requires a 40-foot tall head.
Oh, that's true.
Steel Magnolias, there is nothing in that movie that requires me seeing Meryl Streep 50 feet with a 50-foot tall head. Nothing in that movie requires that. Imperial Star Cruiser crashed into the Death Star. Absolutely, need to see that in as big a screen with as much surround sound as possible.
That's why you have to go see Top Gun on the theater.
Absolutely, so you can see the jets go all the way from one side to the other. Let me dry this real quick. You know, Rick says it's because I love sci-fi. It may be that I love sci-fi, or it may just be that if I'm going to pay the money, I want to see something that utilizes the screen. Because it doesn't matter. Meryl Streep crying on camera is still Meryl Streep crying on camera, whether she's doing it on a 60-inch screen or a 60-foot screen. It makes no difference. But a 10-inch Star Destroyer crashing into a planet is not nearly as exciting as a 20-foot Star Destroyer crashing into a planet. So the tiny screen doesn't work for the big graphics. It's not that I don't like those kinds of movies. It's just that I don't want to pay to see them in theaters.
It's one thing to see Spider-Man hopping across the little screen in your living room versus one across the theater.
Exactly. I agree with that sentiment.
Rick says, depends if the tended star destroyer destroys the planet or not. Yep, that's it.
See, and not all sci-fi requires a big screen. Like if it's bad special effects, I'm okay with it just being on television. If it's just a paper plate on a string, man. All right. In the mornings, these guys, it gets down to like 50 degrees at night in their jungle, and they warm up in the mornings by assuming the lotus position out in front. They sit there with their hands out in front, their legs extended, and their bellies exposed to the sun. And they sit there in the lotus position and they warm up every morning. And the question is did they invent the lotus position, or did they just happen to assume a position that we were already using as a lotus position when we discovered them? Don't know the answer to that one. But it is one of the things the monks point to when they say, see, this is why it's a natural thing we should be doing every day. Sitting in the sun in the lotus position, meditating every morning. There are more in captivity in the zoos and in the pet industry than there are in the wildlife anymore. Their habitat is being destroyed by fire, hunting, and the pet industry, bushmeat. In this day and age, I can't imagine people eating lemurs to extinction. I can see eating lemurs to extinction, 200 years ago. And I have to be careful about this because I said something the other day about a reference to 100 years ago. And then I had to stop and I realized that 100 years ago was the 1920s, not the 1870s. When I say 100 years ago, I'm thinking 1860s, 1870s, but no, 100 years ago is the 1920s, 1930s. So I have to be careful when I say 100 years ago. Anyway, there is my version of the lemur compared to the photograph. Let's see it from my perspective. There he is from my perspective. So that's what I did today. Tomorrow, what do we have tomorrow? Oh my goodness, what could this be? Whatever could this be? This is dun dun dun. Ooh. Oh. I think this is called a matsutake mushroom. Japan harvested 12,000 tons of these things. Is it 12,000 or 120,000? I think it's just 12,000 tons now. And now they just harvest about 1,000 tons a year. They're going extinct. This mushroom is going extinct. We'll talk about that and more fun matsutake mushroom facts tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. While I sketch this, it's the wrinkles on the skin that make it interesting. We'll talk about that and more fun mushroom facts tomorrow morning while I sketch this fun guy at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. So you're going to want to set your notification bell so you don't miss any of that. The guys think. What? Hey, Asian duck shooter.
The goat's still doing what the goat does. Good work again.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Asian duck shooter. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I do look forward to this every day when I get to art with my besties. It is my favorite time of the day. I truly do just run down here so I can be with you. Pamela, Rick, Claudia, Asian Duck Shooter, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure and tune in tomorrow, same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. And then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing, because when they see me dancing, I will know that the lag is cut up with the stream and I won't be cut off mid-sentence. Everybody has a chance to say hello and goodbye to each other, asking questions of each other. Gives you a chance to click the clicky thingies, this way if you're on the horizontal or this way if you're on the vertical. But the most important thing is